All right, you asked for it, you got it. Today's ScamBuster Saturday episode is about Tether, USDT, which might not seem like a potential scam because it's a stable coin. But that's not for me or Seth to decide. It's up to you. So with no further ado, we're going to be bringing you the tools to help you decide for yourself if you think that Tether might be a scam. Ready, Seth?
Ready.
So first, why has Tether sparked so much controversy? Well, four main reasons. The company has failed to provide a promised audit showing that they back the adequate reserves for the currency. They've played an alleged role in manipulating Bitcoin's price in 2017 and early 18. There is an unclear relationship between Tether Limited and Bitfinex, and Bitfinex has a lack of a long-term banking relationship.
Yeah, this has been a cause for concern for a lot of members of the crypto sphere. And Nicole, I think we talked about it. We don't hold any kind of a bias one way or another, but we heard your guys' concerns, and we think that concern it's merited and it's valid. So it was worth taking a look at this through a very critical but very open-minded lens to see, okay, realistically, is it reasonable to call this a scam? So let's kick things off. Do they make bombastic claims? Looks like while Tether makes no claims about promises for high returns due to it being a stable coin, they do claim the token is backed by actual dollars, but an audit revealed that Tether is only backed to about 74%. More about this later on in the review. Still, there's no promise from leadership that investing in Tether will yield any kind of a high return. So, not a bombastic claim. And I'm curious, Nicole, let's compare apples to apples. When you talk about having Tether as a stable coin versus, say, fractional reserve banking, that is modern day finance's dirty secret, right?
Yes, Seth, exactly. Fractional reserve lending is one of the major problems with traditional finance. It's one of the many things that brought a lot of people who have, kind of come over to the dark side or the crypto sphere here. So seeing our own companies start to do that, particularly while they tell us that they have
100%. 74% to
that is
me
used
of
backed
having
by
that actual
dollar.
backing, dollar for dollar or dollar for token, that is. To me, it's not immediate cause for concern. I don't view it as a bombastic claim to have that level of backing, personally. But we'll let the audience decide if 74% dollar for token backing is a bombastic claim in their minds. Nicole, do you have an opinion on that?
Maybe not so much an opinion as it is just more questions in my mind, because yes, 74% fractional reserve lending is nothing relative to what the Federal Reserves and banking systems now use. However, crypto people who are using the asset were led to believe that it would be 100% backed. USDT would be backed 100% dollar for asset, and now we're being told 74%. And we don't even really have proof of that, as there is no hard audit in place. I definitely feel a little bit as though we've been misled, and I want to know if that means that Tether's investors and users have been misled in other areas as well.
Okay. No, hey, you know what? And what's great, I think you just helped me to change my mind a little bit. I'm viewing it under the lens of a comparison to, say, fractional reserve banking, where we know even a local credit union or any other local banking institution that has FDIC insurance, that they're only required to hold so much cash versus versus the holdings of their members. So yeah, for me, I was looking at it that way, but not really focusing on the fact that, like you said, they promised that it was 1-to-1, 100% backed. Every dollar behind every token. So, to your point, maybe, and on that very first point, maybe that could be considered a bombastic claim or an outrageous claim. Certainly incredible.
Trust is very difficult to rebuild once it's been broken, and that leads us to our second point. Is there a tiered referral system, which is very simple in this case? No.
Oh, man. And what a bummer, too. Wouldn't it be great if I gave you $1, you got an extra $1 every time? Oh, well. Okay, well, point number 3, where can it be traded? Where can't it be traded? USDT is the most used, air quotes, cryptocurrency, having surpassed even BTC in daily traded volume, with the majority of users relying on it to transfer value between exchanges because of its stability, right? You lack that volatility between exchanges, and arbitrage is a thing of the past. It's the third largest crypto by market cap as of 3:50 p.m. EST on the 10th of June, 2020. We've got to be very specific here, and traded on many exchanges. Frankly, anywhere that there's a stable coin on an exchange, you very likely have USDT as the primary stablecoin.
One thing that I think is really important to note when you look through the exchanges where USDT is used is what is odd is that I don't see Bitfinex come up on exchanges where it's used. That seems strange to me because Bitfinex is the exchange most commonly associated with USDT, as Tether Limited and Bitfinex share a CEO, a CFO, and chief legal counsel. So I think that's maybe just something to pay a little bit of attention to.
Wow. Okay. Yikes. More about that later, I guess. And that is a bit of a cause for concern, for sure. It seems like there's definitely a potential conflict of interest there. Yikes. Okay.
So speaking of controversy, we get to point number 4. Is Tether legal in the US and other regulated countries? Why or why not? Well, Tether USDT is obviously catering to customers who want to tie their assets to the stability of the dollar, but its legal status here is kind of questionable. That's because legal controversy has surrounded Tether since accusations that Tether was used to manipulate the price of Bitcoin in 2017. Additionally, in April 2019, New York Attorney General filed a suit accusing Bitfinex of using Tether's reserves to cover up a missing $850 million without informing their shareholders. While USDT can be held in some custodial wallets, including Coinbase, that allow US customers, the exchange most commonly associated with Tether, Bitfinex, stopped serving US customers on August 15, 2018, stating exchanges based in the US are better positioned to properly service retail US customers. Additionally, Tether's legal team indicates that U.S. residents, with an extra emphasis on inhabitants of New York, are prohibited from holding USDT tokens in Tether's wallet. As the wording in the legal document is somewhat confusing, I reached out to Stuart Hogner, the team's legal counsel, for clarity. He responded on Twitter saying, pursuant to Tether's terms of services, U.S. persons are not permitted to use our services. That includes U.S. residents. The New York prohibition is broader, but for individual residents of the U.S., whether in New York or not, it amounts to the same thing. This is likely related to rules or regulations of the SEC and the allegations that New York's Attorney General brought against Tether.
Stands to reason. If there's been some kind of legal motion against Tether in the state of New York, then putting myself in their team's shoes, I know I would want to steer clear of that state from that point moving forward. So, well, point number 5, do experts promote it? I think that's another yes and no, Nicole, because you have split opinions across the cryptosphere. You have people who are professional traders who will occasionally try to peg their trades to a stable store of value of some type, and USDT is just much easier to deal with on exchange than anything else. Trying to exit to fiat, for sure, is much more tricky, and then re-entering into some kind of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, a larger reserve cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, or a larger cap coin, much more difficult if you had to fully exit to fiat cryptocurrency. So you get a lot of people who are interested in talking about technical analysis and trading that, while they're not promoting it per se, they're using it, and they're talking to their viewers and their followers about using it as though it's just a reality, just a fact of trading, that traders use it and they use it because it's useful. On the flip side, as you were saying before, Nicole, there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people are concerned because of that 74% backing, alleged 74% backing, which, as you said, even that is unsubstantiated by an actual audit. So yes and no. You got people who are genuine experts saying only trade against Bitcoin, which is sort of the de facto, air quotes, reserve currency within cryptocurrency today. It's got the largest value, right, the largest market cap. And while it's volatile, for the most part, it has shown the greatest resilience to attack, right? Contentious forks, all kinds of problems with whales manipulating price. But then you have people who claim that the biggest threat to Bitcoin since its birth has been Tether in 2017 and 2018. So I think a lot of the professionals are split on this.
Interesting. Lots of splits here. So number 6, who are they marketing to? Noobs or savvy buyers? Are they marketing to the ignorant? Well, I'd say they're primarily marketing to traders and others who want the ease of transferring money offered by cryptocurrency without the potential volatility, meaning they're marketing to those who are transferring large sums of money. Now, in my opinion, and from my research and experience working in the field, those who've amassed large sums of money are typically not ignorant about how it works. So I would say, no, this is not marketed to the ignorant.
Awesome. So let's talk about who's on the team. And because this, as you guys know, if you've watched the channel and if you've watched any of Nicole's excellent media, you know that this matters, right? The people who run these projects are just as important as their vision, right, or their mission statement. So this team for Tether, the current team is Jean-Louis van der Velde, the CEO of Bitfinex as well, with a long history of working in fintech in general. Giancarlo Devasini is their CFO, but also CFO of Bitfinex. Started his career as an MD, actually. And then Stuart Hogner, their general counsel, also the iGaming attorney.
Stuart Wagner is also who I got the quote from earlier, and he is also the chief legal counsel for Bitfinex.
There you go. Oh, the Bitfinex connection. Let's talk about some of the founding team and the former team. One, Brock Pierce, who is well known in the Bitcoin space, the crypto space, no longer officially affiliated with Tether, but was instrumental in its creation and its early development, and was a very, very vocal proponent of it, of course. Reeve Collins was a co-founder.
So sorry to interrupt here, Seth, but with the mention of Brock Pierce, it makes sense to now bring in a clip from an interview that I did with Brock when we were both at Anarchapulco in February, because we talked about Tether. So here's a clip from that interview, and if you'd like to see the rest of the interview, you can check that out over on my YouTube channel. That's Web3TV. I hope that's okay with you, Seth.
Yeah, no, for sure.
A lot of people have suggested that at this conference, I've heard a lot of discussion, and I don't know if you've heard it too, but a lot of people have suggested that Tether was used to artificially inflate the price of Bitcoin to $20,000 in 2017 to 2018. So that's a lot of that is because, according to people, according to CoinMarketCap, 10 times of Tether's total supply is traded daily. So does that seem, I guess the question is, does it seem unreasonable that 10 times of the total supply is traded daily, and can you address some of the immediate concerns regarding?
Yeah, so as one of the founders and ideators of the business, what I saw was a need for a stable medium of exchange. My belief was that people wanted to move money from one exchange to the other, not necessarily always in Bitcoin. And then traders in Bitcoin wanted the ability to easily be in and out. And so we needed a stable coin, something pegged or backed by US dollars, right? Asset backed, ideally, and that's how Tether got started. I gave up, my group had majority ownership So I've not formally been involved for quite a while, but I've never seen anything that suggested that anything has been manipulated. That's not to say that something hasn't. And I have probably better information than most. I'm not happy about how things were managed after I gave control over to someone else, but I've not seen anything that suggested that they've been manipulating markets. The data in terms of the trading volume relative to the market cap, I think, is more indicative of the lack of confidence in Tether. I think that there's $4 or $5 billion of Tether outstanding today. I think that number would probably be like 25 or 50 billion if people were highly confident in Tether. People don't want to hold Tether any longer than they have to, which is why you have a small amount of Tether turning over to such a high degree, is due to a lack of confidence. If people were really confident in Tether, and that Tether wasn't ever going to go anywhere, I think that you'd have $40 or $50 billion issued on the platform, and then you'd be seeing something like 1 times. But I think that's really a measure of a lack of confidence in Tether, not a market manipulation thing.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to give you an opportunity to answer the question because I've heard it multiple times.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it's people are always like.
People love to point fingers.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tether's been one of the most important things ever built for our industry.
I agree.
Tether didn't manipulate, in my opinion, the price getting to $10,000 or $20,000, but there would be no $10,000 Bitcoin without Tether or without stablecoins.
Sure, yeah.
It was in the building of the overall ecosystem. This was one of the most important foundational pieces necessary for cryptocurrency to get to where it is. It didn't need to be tethered, but we had to have a stable medium of exchange. And without that, Bitcoin would probably not even be worth $1,000 or $2,000 today, because we wouldn't also have decentralized finance. It's a stepping stone. This was an essential, foundational piece of the ecosystem. So I'm grateful to Tether. Keep making more stable coins. All the ones that are out there. If you don't like Tether, use a different stable coin.
Yeah.
Everybody still seems all to use Tether. So the people that seem to complain about it are the ones that don't use it. Everybody else seems to be kind of okay with it. Now, there were some really horrible things. I think the way that Bitfinex lost their money, and that wasn't their fault. That was one of the problems of being in crypto, but then taking out a loan from Tether without fully disclosing that up front. That, I think, was really bad. And that did happen. That is something that we should be very critical of. And Tether and Bitfinex have to do a much better job of disclosing everything. Now, to put myself in their shoes, they're also being investigated and all sorts. So, crypto, you'll understand that it's really complicated. If you're not that in the industry, or you're just a trader, you don't necessarily understand that just getting a bank account for any of these projects is really hard. And so until you've actually gotten to the point of running a project, it's easy to say things should be a certain way and this should be that way. But the unfortunate reality is things are not so simple, nor are things so easy.
Right, yeah, of course.
Like audits. You can't. Tether, I'm not involved these days, but during the time that I was looking at it, there was no auditor in the world that would audit it. Because auditors like Arthur Andersen went out of business. They shut down a major top 5 accounting firm because they did the audit on Enron. Why would an auditor for $1 million in fees, or even $5 million in fees, which would be a crazy amount of money for Tether to spend, right, want to take on the legal liability of auditing such a controversial industry and such a controversial business? How many of the major exchanges have been audited? And try to go get an audit as a major business in this space. The firms are like, no, it's not worth $1 million to us to be exposed. Sure. So it's also, again, one of those things, you might want to do it, but good luck getting it done. The major auditors won't audit major companies in this space because they view them, you'd have to pay for, the numbers I got previously is auditors would consider it if you pay them $50 to $100 million to basically perform a basic audit.
Yeah.
So that's also kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and when there's $50 to $100 million laying around, you want to spend that on development, on marketing, on,
But that is starting to change as the industry is maturing. Mm-hmm. Auditors have now learned more. They're getting more comfortable. So that's actually how it was for years.
So, hey, Nicole, thanks so much for sharing that with the audience here. Just a reminder, guys, check out Web3 TV. We always have the subscription link down here in the description of these videos. So go ahead and subscribe to Web3 TV for more great interviews between Nicole and various other pillars of the crypto community. To finish off the list of the former founding team of Tether, there was also Reed Collins, Craig Sellers, and Reggie Fowler. We do not have affiliations for Reggie Fowler, do we?
So Reggie Fowler is on the list because although I don't know what his official links to Tether Limited are, I do know that he was indicted in 2019 on charges of absconding with some of the money that was missing from Bitfinex and Tether. That's part of the $850 million. So while I'm unsure of his actual affiliation with Tether, it's worth mentioning.
Heck yeah, it is. Okay,
Okay, so that leads us into the next point, number 8. Have the founders made claims that have since proven to be false? Yes, they have. Tether's founding team originally claimed that USDT was backed 1-to-1 with dollars, but in March 2019, team attorneys discovered that wasn't true. Tether changed their statement, claiming instead that the token's stability is backed by a combination of dollars and loans to affiliate companies. In 2019, Tether's attorney claimed each Tether was backed by 74 cents in cash and or cash equivalent, which is fractional reserve lending that many take issue with.
Awesome. Do they have a functioning blockchain or token? Well, yes, USDT is the most used cryptocurrency. Additionally, Tether Limited has 4 tokens. 2 are pegged to the US dollar and 2 are pegged to the euro. One of each is issued on the Bitcoin blockchain using the OmniLayer protocol, and one of each is an ERC20 token. And for convenience, we'll take a look at that in just a moment. I pulled it up on etherscan.io.
Okay, our next step is to check the GitHub repository, but in this case, that actually doesn't work. Doesn't mean that we can't do our next step, which is to check the smart contract.
That's correct. However, in lieu of the GitHub repository, for a project like this, because they are tokens that are issued on the OmniLayer protocol, as well as ERC20 tokens on Ethereum, the smart contract is the only amount of code that we would ever need to look at. So when it's a token that's issued on another platform, the smart contract contains all of the relevant code. Everything there is going to affect the asset issuance, is going to affect any of the other parameters of a given token, because it's not a coin, it's not a blockchain, and so there's no other need to look for anything such as a pre-mine or an insta-mine or a hidden founders reward. Everything would live within the smart contract. So in this case, no need to chase down GitHub. It's all going to be on etherscan.io, and or at least the ERC20 token that we're going to take a look at is everything's there. Okay, so here I've got etherscan.io open, and the smart contract address is here. Without doing anything related to a deep dive, what this is going to show us is all of the activity surrounding the smart contract. And you'll see a link to this smart contract on etherscan.io down in the show notes or the description of this video. And it shows us that the price today, based on etherscan.io's market cap info and coin info or token info, is $1 even. I'm going to also open up CoinGecko to see what CoinGecko values it at today. CoinGecko shows it at $0.999759. So little discrepancy, not a ton, but in an industry where we measure tokens and coins in Satoshi value, every little bit counts. So there is a difference there between etherscan.io and CoinGecko, which may be pulling that exchange data from somewhere else as well, or and aggregating exchange data from other places as well. But it shows right now the total supply of USDT. It shows us that it is currently 5,737,000,000 and change. We'll say quite a bit more, but as you can see right there, it is that's a fluctuating number, and that number is current as of today. The current number of holders, there are over 1.7 million addresses that hold it, and there have been over 35 million transfers of Tether. Down below, we see the transfers, the holders, info, exchange, DEX trades, can read the contract. All of these tabs are available to us on etherscan.io for this contract, and we can see real time underneath. See 37 seconds ago, see timestamp data for a transaction hash and a sending address and receiving address, plus the quantity for every single transaction of Tether. This is all open. None of this is hidden at all. So this is for good, bad, indifferent. Your views on privacy, take this into account when using Tether. If you chose to transact in US dollars or euros and you had cash bills, right, paper bills, there would never be a record quite like this that anybody from around the world could see real time on a website like etherscan.io. So it's an interesting concept to have an air quotes stable coin that's supposed to, air quotes, function equivalent to dollars, right, or national currencies, but cannot replicate the function of cash. That concerns me a little bit, but I look at things through the lens of privacy. But everything is here. Taking a look at the contract right here. There it is. So tether string shows us some changes there. The total supply that was initially set, the number of decimals, maximum fees, total supply, and everything else. A lot of these are functions that, if you are a Solidity programmer, will make a lot of sense. I am not one. Disclaimer: I don't pretend to be a programmer. I make the joke sometimes that I'm not a programmer. I just play one on YouTube. Even that is just a joke, guys. None of this is legal, financial, business, or programming advice at all. But the full smart contract is available on etherscan.io to audit. So if you know somebody that does understand Solidity programming, it's all available here. None of this is in secret.
Okay, so all of that sums up really everything that we can tell you about how to evaluate USDT for whether or not it's a scam. The only final point is step number 12, and that's listen to your gut or your instinct. I can't tell you what your instinct is telling you about USDT. You have to determine that for yourself.
So, audience, you decide. Based on what Nicole has written up, first off, brilliant research that Nicole has written up here for the article, and based on our presentation to you, looking up the smart contract, providing that for you to take a look at, you ask yourself, are you comfortable using this token? Do you believe this is a scam? Because many people brought this up. This was among the first things that people mentioned was Tether. So ask yourself, do you believe it's a scam? If so, tell us down in the comments. If not, tell us down in the comments why not. What are your reasons for either using or not using Tether?
Yeah, so now we've given you all the tools and we've gone through the checklist. It's up to you. Do you think that Tether is a scam? Do you think it's not a scam? Let us know why or why not in the comments down below. Also, please let us know about some other projects that you'd like to hear us go through this checklist with. On a completely separate note, my shirt of the day is Satoshi 2020, and here it is. You can pick one up for yourself along with over 20 other designs on mineyour.biz.
Available for purchase in your favorite coins, including, ironically, the stablecoin USDC.
Did you say USDT or USDC?
USDC. So we accept USDC in the mineyour.biz web store.
All right, so to wrap this up, like, comment, subscribe, and what we really want you to remember is that the only person who can really protect you from being scammed is you.